1, 2, 3, 4.
Guess who's back? The Men's Roundtable series is back on the air every Thursday at 7 p.m. It should be in your calendars, locked in, a standing appointment by now. But thank you guys for joining us. The Warriors are here. We got some more coming through, pulling the rear up. We're gonna give them the business when they show up, because you know what? We're gonna do lateness in this situation. Integrity, honor, discipline. It's all good, man. But how you fellas doing tonight? All's well?
All's well.
All is well.
Been a busy day. You guys?
Yeah. Super busy day. Interviewing all day. It's like there's no breaks in between. It's wild. But that's we grind for a reason. So, but it's all good, man. Well, for those that are just catching up with us for the very first time, wherever you are and however you're watching the MRTS, thanks for making us part of your week. We're live on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. So wherever you're finding this episode, if you got a question for us, drop some love in the chat. We're going to throw in some commentary. By all means, if it's relevant to what we're talking about, drop it in there. We'll speak to those things right here live on the air. All right. Already got my guy, George Storyman off. Strongman, Bulgarian warrior. Great to be here with you, George. Thank you, brother. We had an awesome interview recently with him, and his story is, I'll tell you what, I asked him about it, but he didn't say nothing back, so I'm kind of putting George on blast right now, but this is the kind of guy you want on a panel like this. His perspective, I don't know if it's because he's from a different country, but his perspective on fatherhood and manhood and masculinity is profound, to say the least. You want to meet this guy. I hope he takes me up on my offer and decides to join us. He's in a different time zone, so I know that could play a bit of a part, but man, that man's fella. So George, honor to meet you, man. Great to have you in the chat. Thanks for helping us out there, brother. Appreciate you so much, man. We are in the throes of, a mental health month plus. It's the topic. I don't know if you're seeing it in any place that you think is relevant that you want to discuss. I love to hear real world situations and things that you're talking about or that you're seeing or things you're having conversations about regarding mental health. Honestly, when I look around, maybe in the media spaces, I don't hear a lot about it, even though, it's supposed to be celebrated or noted as a mental health month, along with June, where the men are concerned. But there's so much stuff that's just going on, and I think people are just overlooking it. Are you hearing some momentum? Thank you, George. Are you hearing some momentum regarding mental health? Some things that you're seeing take place that are positive? What are you guys hearing? You guys in the chat, by all means, please jump in and share your thoughts as well. Thank you. Go ahead.
I don't know so much about what I'm hearing, but I was thinking about this on my way home from an appointment today, how diving through all of this, talking through these things with you guys and seeing the comments in the chat, it makes me a lot more aware. Like, I deal with my caseload is a lot of people that have mental health challenges, right? And not all outrightly expressed, not all written diagnoses, but I'm becoming more aware of them, right? Whereas before I might have just chalked it up to somebody being maybe quirky, right? Or having just being different, quote unquote, right? But I can notice it a lot more as a result of being a part of this, discussing the different things that people can be encountering, going through, and fear and mental health and homelessness and all those things are a part of my job. So, I'm just thankful, man, to be a part of these conversations. It's helping me to be able to notice these things, and they help guide my conversations with these guys a lot easier.
I love that, man. It's pretty profound stuff. Anybody else? I'm just asking about where you're seeing any strides in area of mental health this month. Conversations you're having with people about that, maybe things that you're finding out about yourself in the throes of us focusing on mental health so much this month. So go ahead.
it's actually tripping me up because I've been a men's podcaster for 6 years, man. And honestly, since I started doing this is the quietest I've ever heard Men's Mental Health Month. Like, as far as just visibility, I have not seen it on social media. I have not seen the conversation happening. I haven't seen the hashtags. Normally during this month, I see a lot more recognition of men's mental health and conversations about it. And like, even in the men's spaces, I'm not seeing that conversation happening this year.
Why do you think that is? I'd love to hear your thoughts on that, because I have the same view, or the same experience, if you will.
I don't know. Like, it, even on my show, like, it became an aftermath. Like, I got towards the end of the month, I realized, like, normally I spend the whole month doing shows specifically going after men's mental health on my platforms. And I was like, wow, somehow I dropped the ball on this entirely. And like, I only did one show on it this month. And because I'm just not seeing that conversation. So I don't know if people are so lost in politics right now, right? Because the politic conversation is at a higher fever pitch than it's ever been before for, like, midterm season and all that. Like, it's a lot more of the airwaves with talk of Iran and everything going on there, and gas prices and stuff like that. So I don't know if that has just kind of pushed out the conversation, other than like Memorial Day. I only saw proposed for Memorial Day really on Memorial Day. But a lot of the normal conversations that I would see in this part of the year are down. So I don't know that if people are plugged in on politics, or if there's just something else trending right now that I'm not aware of. But that would be my guess, is people are just so stressed about the economy and about politics. Mainly, I think a lot of people are checking out of social media. I'm seeing a major drop in actual active presence on social media. So I think that's part of it. I think part of the people are just walking away from it because they're just tired of the headache that comes. Like, social media is bad for your mental health. So I think more and more people are just stepping away from social media, period.
Yeah. Rod, how about you, sir? What you thinking?
Good evening, gentlemen.
Yeah.
Brent, I can agree with that. As far as a lot of people are, like they like to say now, we're starting to go back to touch grass and get back from behind the screen so much. But as far as men's mental health, not seeing it that much, but we're also early because it doesn't actually jump off until June for men's mental health. So that might be also why you're not seeing too much about men in that space. I think May is mental health, and then June is men's mental health month.
Yeah, but we're not seeing anything in May, and May's almost over. I think that's kind of part of what Brent was talking about. I mean, the month's almost gone, in I think about 3 or 4 days it's over, and we haven't seen anything. Like, we used to get blitzed with commercials about everything that was like a month that they wanted to promote. I mean, I can't memorize them all, so I don't know what January and February were, but it was always a month for something. And it was on people's calendars. People talking about it in their workplaces at the water cooler, on every commercial, especially when they were trying to sell or promote something. Maybe I missed. Maybe we don't watch enough TV, but I haven't seen anything this month I could think of that's kind of speaks. Maybe one passing commercial late at night about mental health month. So I don't know. Maybe it's just some of us. If you guys are in the chat and you are hearing something different, we love to hear it. But I think the majority of us on here are not hearing it very much. But from the perspective of mental health, especially what we talked about last week, which was, I think there's some lingering impact from that, at least for me, for sure. Any victories, any strides into the positive from the convo we've been having on this show for the month? Anything you can share? I ain't trying to embarrass you guys. Just want to get you guys to share some stuff.
Well, last time, last time I was on, I would say I mentioned how sometimes you can get so annoyed or easily annoyed. I've been more aware of that and knowing I need to take a step back. Because like when a child can get under your skin for just being a child, not doing anything, then you know, okay, something's wrong with me. I need to take a step back. I need to relax. I need some me time. I need some quiet time. And I've been more cognizant of that, taking time to pause, making sure I pause before I speak and I respond, especially when I'm in a frustrated state. But yeah, like what Brent was saying, though, a lot of the frustration, what I think a lot of us are feeling the frustration, just political setting and everything that's going on with this war. I mean, gas prices are high, electric bill, everything is just skyrocketing, but the wage is not going up. So I think everybody's feeling the crunch right now. So that's another reason why you need to take a step back and realize, everything is. It seems bad, but we got first world problems in comparison.
You got that right, brother. I like how you put that. First world problems.
So when you look at the grand scheme of things and look at what you've already overcome and what you've come through, that should give you a little peace for times as this. Like if I made it then, I definitely can make it now. It's too easy to make it now, especially with social media and things of that nature. It's just too many different ways to bring in more income. You just got to be willing to do the work.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Anybody else?
Yeah, I resonate with that pause thing, man. That's been huge. My brother put it, I was talking to him the other day about this, like, how do I, newly in a marriage, how do I be a good husband, right? When I'm going through frustrations and I have all these things, right? And that pause thing has been it's been vital, right? Where like I'll get home, I'm in the car. My brother taught me this little tip that he does. I'll pause in the car and I'll remind myself, okay, I have to give her my best, not my leftovers. Right.
That's good, man.
Like I have to give her my best. And that has been huge, man, because I'll tell you, prior to doing that, she got the best of my worst sometimes already, and that's what the leftovers is. It's the best of my worst, but it's that pause thing, man. I cannot say enough about it.
Yeah. I've been hearing this or things like this for a little while now, but I'll be honest, man, I don't have it mastered yet. I was just telling somebody in an interview recently that, as much as I know and have heard about I don't mean the kooky stuff surrounding meditation, because that's not something I advocate. But I mean, just taking the time to kind of sit in whatever the situation is, rather than trying to run out and trying to fix it, trying to run out and try to just try to manufacture breakthrough, but kind of just sit in it, assess what's going on. We talked about this very early on in the year about assessing our feelings, assessing the emotions. What am I feeling? Why am I feeling this way? And deal with that before we start getting up out of that to go and act. And I'm just really getting, not the hang of it, because I don't feel that comfortable with it, but just learning how to sit in the situation and not react to everything that goes on, because we're in a reactive society as it is. You can see it all over the place. Learn how to just kind of just sit and assess what's actually going on, so that when you do speak or respond, not react, but respond, you got a good sense of what's actually going on. You're not reacting to the situation. For example, I don't know where you guys are, what traffic is like where you live, but I can relate to this on our end here. But a lot of times, there's a lot of opportunities to have road rage. These people aren't really doing anything to you. I mean, in hindsight, in the moment, especially if you didn't have a cup of joe yet, things can get real lit out there, especially in the morning or in rush hour traffic. But the person, besides short of hitting your car, they're not really doing anything to you. They're throwing their Starbucks macchiato at your window, they're doing something to you then. But beside that, they just cutting in front of you, they're driving slow or driving too fast and buzzing you, but they're not really doing anything to you. my question is, why do we get so angry about it? Is it because of what they did, or is something else going on? I use that as an example because now I got to the place where that's not automatically the right answer. They cut me off. That's why I'm so boiling angry. I can smack that person right now. I think about, okay, what's another option? Did I get enough sleep? Did I get enough protein? Did I eat? No. Did I leave too late and I'm in a hurry? So there's a whole bunch of different things I think about. And in the mental health space, man, I just feel like if we don't take the time, like Rob was talking about, to kind of just sit and assess and deal with that stuff, man, we're going to need a mental health month acknowledged every single month. We're going to always, it's going to be a constant 12-month thing if we don't, deal with it. Does that make sense? Did I lose everybody, or we on the same page? I mean, help me out here, guys.
I was just really enjoying the way you phrased the possibility of experiencing road rage. That's like the nicest way I've ever heard that said. You have the opportunity to experience. I was like, wow, that's way more peaceful about it than I am. I definitely got to worry about that road rage, man. I get out there, I'm just like, you're an idiot,
I know it, man. I think, and this is I wouldn't call it a mantra, but it's something that we've learned recently, and we say it in the house. Sometimes we don't like when somebody else in the house says it to us, but it's a real thing. We don't have to, we get to. And we've been putting that out there for everything. If we're part of a brand new ministry, we're leading a new campus, and the amount of projects and tasks that we're getting hit with are astronomical. We got to tell ourselves, you know what? We don't have to do this. We get the privilege of doing this.
Mm-hmm.
So we kind of we try to reframe everything that we look at as a negative or potential negative. Road rage was my most far-reaching idea I can throw out there. So I think it still applies, though, but it is a big stretch for a lot of people. But good call, Brent. Anybody else?
No, I was appreciating what DL was saying about, that pause. One of the very first interviews I ever did on my show, I interviewed a guy who trained stuntmen. He used to be a stuntman and then went on in his career to train other stuntmen. And he was talking about, that fight or flight response that we get. And a lot of times that's sparked when we get angry or upset. But there's actually a physiological response going on in your body. And one of the things I learned from him was that pause, but in that pause, taking 3 deep nose breaths in and then back out. Yeah. It actually physiologically interrupts that escalation in your brain because your brain, when you get worked up, automatically speeds up your breathing. That's a natural physiological response to stress, anxiety, anger. Your breathing speeds up. And so by deliberately taking 3 deep, long breaths in and out deep into your diaphragm, you actually arrest that physiological response, and it pulls you back down into the moment. And that's something it's really helped me with anger over the years. It's really helped me with stress. And that when I'm, having that rough day, or when I'm, stressed out in my studio or coming back home, that pause, it's like, let's do this. Let's, hit all those buttons I can to help me show up as a better version of me. Right. Because the better version of me is thinking before I interact with my wife or my children or my friends or anybody. Right. Yeah. That's the thinking, present, calm, together version of me. And so that's something that stayed with me. Is not just the pause, but that breathing to counteract the physiological effect and bring me back into that logical brain instead of that emotional brain.
I love that.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff. Anybody else? So let's jump into what we were intending to talk about today. Not where we went, but it was a good detour. I loved it a lot. Huh? What you say?
We're getting into our brains.
Yeah, we're getting deep with it. I like that. All gas, no brakes, baby.
Yes.
All right, so you know, I guess the topic that people are going to find when they look for our show or they watch it live with us or on replay is who am I when I'm not winning? I think that's this goes to some deep places. Doubt very highly we're going to cover it all. Well, before we get off of the air, just don't see it happening. But identity is always a constant topic with us, not only men but also on this panel. Isolation and shame and feeling disconnected relationally. We talk about it so much because like it seems to be the areas that we just keep bumping into. We know it's not good. We know we got to fix it. We know we got to improve on it, and we just keep bumping into it. And we'll confess. I've heard it confessed here more times than anywhere else in my life. I know I got to do better with it. I know it's not right, but I keep doing this. I know it's not good, but I keep finding myself here. So for the first time, I'm not really sure where we should start this conversation. What was the most recent time that you guys have felt shame? No matter how far back you got to go, but what was the most recent time that you guys have felt shame? While they're thinking about this for you men that are watching and listening to this, we get deep with this. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of it, because in the deep is where all the good stuff is. All the good victory and the good breakthrough and the good healing. It's underneath all the other stuff. So don't be afraid of the deep topics and the deep questions. Chime in if you have a comment or question in the chat or in the comment section, wherever you find an episode. Drop it in here. We'll read it or we'll just assess it. But go ahead.
You know, the thing comes to mind for me is when I was getting off that bus, shackled, walking onto the prison yard, man. Like the shame, and not just because I was going there, man, but most of my life, in a worldly sense, winning was all I could do. You know, so then it was those moments walking in there where like now I'm being yelled at, being told what to do, being told I got to stick my nose to the wall. And if it moves off the wall, I'm getting my head dipped in the floor, you know, and knowing that they were going to do that. And I couldn't do anything to defend myself. I'm belly chained, shackled to my waist, like, and that thought, like, wow, how did I get here? You know, I was just literally at that moment, felt like yesterday I was making a 6-figure income. You know, I had the winning smile, you know, like all of the
you
things
still got that, brother.
Well, I appreciate that. But all of the things that as a kid I longed for, I had, right? And then I find myself in a prison jumpsuit, you know, being told what to do and unable to, if I said anything back, it was a problem. If I did anything, it's a bigger problem, right? Like I literally had to be compliant. I think that was the most shame that I felt in my life, especially being like in my family with my last name. I'm the first one with this name to touch the system, right? And I remember my dad always telling us stories about his grandfather, and he would say, "Hey, don't make shame the name, boy," you know, meaning don't exactly what that says, right? Like this is our name, right? This is who we are. Don't dirty it. And boy, I dirtied it. I felt so much shame walking through there.
Wow. Or you guys are pondering, I'll give you a little chance to catch up. But I got a comment from George who says, makes perfect sense. Someone said that self-care is looking after the gift that I was put on this earth to offer others, or something like that, because it's that self that we give our loved ones. Thank you, George. Fantastic comment. Something to definitely chew on for us, for sure. Thank you, sir. Go ahead, guys.
I'll jump in if RL is still thinking. This, like, so I had to stop. Like, I looked off screen. I was looking up the definition of shame, just because I don't necessarily throw the word on it. I don't think about it. But like, I would almost tell you right now in my life, as I'm in the ground level building phase of a new business, this is almost a daily feeling for me.
Wow.
And it's because we had such a pivot from our former business direction. Like we're going with nothing. Like there's no cushion, there's no money, there's nothing we're living off of. And so every time that I don't close a sponsor, when I'm trying to find sponsors for our business, every time I can't pay a bill, right? Or I can't do something fun with my kids that I would normally not even think twice about doing, because we are in that bottom beginning grinding with nothing coming off the ground start to a business.
Yeah.
And a lot of you guys have your own businesses. You know exactly where we're talking about, where the money has run out and now it is a fight for survival to is make it or break it at this point.
Yeah.
That is where we jumped into this business. We were already at that point. Things had hit that break point with my old business. And so, every time I have to say no to my daughters about something silly I never would have thought of before, shame. Every time I don't manage to close, and you guys know as well as I do, right? You got to knock on 100 doors. Maybe one person says yes, right? But every time I go out trying to lock in new sponsors for the show and I don't get a response, or, I just get flat out no, it's like just a gut punch, and I'm hanging my head and I'm coming back to the house. I'm like just dreading looking my wife in the eyes. And my wife is super supportive in our business. But I just, it almost goes beyond shame to just self-hatred at this point.
Wow.
So
Goodness gracious.
it's,
I want to jump in before RL comes in, because I gotta jump in here. I know that we're supposed to know what that means. I know what it feels like, but I'm not quite sure I know what it means. Because the things that Brent just laid out, I deal with that too. Right now, technically, I don't even have a business anymore. I am a coach without clients. I'm not even coaching anybody right now. So I'm evaluating the whole scope of that. And, when you look around and you see the logo you've been plastered on social media, sharing with people, and all the things you made, all of the programs you built up and packages and all those stuff, it's like, man, you feel something in the pity of stuff. I mean, is that shame? I mean, I don't even know how to put words to it. I can look it up like Brent did. It's a painful emotion caused by a consciousness of guilt or shortcoming. But it's like sometimes I don't even realize that that's what's happening. I'm kind of like, it's like that's what makes shame so deadly, because you don't even know that that's what it is, because that door of shame leads to guilt so quick, and then guilt to self-loathing. Before you know it, you're the dude on the bridge. Don't even know how you even got there. So that's how subtle shame can be. I'm sitting here like, if I'm feeling shame on a regular basis, I don't even know if that, am I? I'm not even sure. So I respect you so much, Brent, for being able to put a name on that and say, you know what, this is what's going on. I'm dealing with this every single day. Almost all your examples are stuff I deal with every day. And I don't even associate guilt with that. I don't feel good about the fact that I can't do stuff. Take my wife on vacation and celebrate anniversaries and stuff and do something, over the top special, because I love her like that. So I want to do extra stuff. Can't even do it. So identifying this shame, I think is wow. This is huge. Go ahead, Rod. I just wanted to drop that in there real quick, man. Go ahead, but I'm sorry.
Well, I'm a piggyback off of Brent, and I'm actually going to give the definition. It says shame is a painful, self-conscious emotion driven by the belief that you are inherently flawed, unworthy, or have failed to live up to a social or personal moral standard. It typically causes a deep desire to hide or withdraw. So with that being said, a lot of what I would say my shame has come from is something I deal with from time to time. It would be, I would say, imposter syndrome. Feeling like you're in rooms that you don't belong, and a lot of that comes with me. Was my biggest source of shame has always been not finishing my college degree. I went to school many years, tried different subjects, and just things, financial issues arise. And so it's not that I didn't make the grade. It's just, money began to run out, and student loans after a while, I just started paying out of pocket because I can't take on any more debt. But the shame comes when you're in rooms with people who have the master's and the doctorate, and you're feeling like you don't belong in that room, even though you were invited to that room, or you know everything that they know, but because you don't have those letters behind your name, it seems like you don't belong there. And for me, that has been a sense of shame. And the imposter syndrome was, and don't take this though, anybody that has a college degree is pursuing a college degree, don't take this the wrong way. In the grand scheme of things, the degree really doesn't mean much. And the reason I say that is we go and we spend all this money to get the degree. And if you're not starting your own business, you end up working for a company that's owned by somebody who doesn't have a degree. So what it does, it teaches you how to learn. And a lot of us learn more on our own than we do in school anyway. And a lot of us are self-taught in a lot of ways. So you belong in these rooms, and in my situation, a lot of the times I end up teaching the people who have the degree, and I'm the one without it, because I've taken the time to learn these things. I have hands-on, like especially the field I'm in right now. On paper, it makes no sense for me to be an analytical chemist, but I am, and I've been doing it for 20 years. So I started out as a chemical technician in an organic chemistry lab. And I just learned, I got with people, basically hands-on, almost like an apprenticeship, to now I'm on the analytical side, and I am an actual analytical chemist. Sit with people who have PhDs, sit with people who have master's degrees. I teach them, they teach me, but on paper, I don't belong in that room. And it took me a while to realize that I am where I belong. I'm in certain rooms that I belong because God has placed me there, and He qualifies.
Yes,
it doesn't matter what man's qualification is. He's going to qualify you.
Yes, He
and
does.
It took me a while to learn that, and every once in a while, it's still a sense of shame when you stand up and you get introduced, and then you hear Dr. So and so and so and so, and then it's just you. So sometimes I feel like, why am I here? Why am I in here? So imposter syndrome for me is a sense of shame. Another sense I would say on the home front, not necessarily making the best financial decisions, and then you got to look your wife or your kid in the face because now you've caused a hardship that shouldn't have been a hardship if you just would have consulted and made the right decision. But you stood on your own, thought you could do it all by yourself, and then you put yourself in a bad situation. So that's been a sense of shame, or some in the past, some things that I've done that wasn't the best financially, and then I had to eat it, So
it's always amazing to me. We have these varying viewpoints, and I love that. I love it about this group. I don't have a degree RL, and there are a lot of people in my field who did. I was always excited when we were doing introductions, and they're like, so-and-so, so-and-so, like reading off names and titles. And they got to me and it's like, yo, Brent. And everybody's just looking at me like, how the hell did you get here? I'm like, yeah, exactly. Right. But that's my ego. But, I love, we have different viewpoints going. Yes, there are so many things, and we often don't name it. We don't know. You is totally right. We don't put a name to it. Shame isn't something we talk about in our society in those terms. The only time we ever throw that out is around like sexual shame, right? That's the only place you ever really brought up in our society, is when we talk about, especially when you get like people over a certain age talking about younger generations and not having any sexual shame, right? The way young women dress, or the way they act, or the things they do online, blah, blah, blah. That's about the only time you hear it, but it haunts us in so many ways that we don't ever put a name to, and we don't know that that's what's eating at us, right? That's why I had to look it up, because like Shame. I don't know. Oh, that's what that is. that's cool. I didn't know that.
Maybe we can
Say
consider.
offline, you'll have to explain to me what an analytical chemist is because I have no idea what that is.
Put it in the private chat. I think maybe we can consider shame to be kind of a chameleon. Maybe it's a good way to describe it. I can give you two instances where I know that shame was at work. This is when I decided to join an Islamic community or Islamic sect, leave Christianity and go to Islam. And I had 2 more months before I graduated from high school, and I dropped out. The look on my mother's face, the tenor of her voice. She didn't do anything to make me feel bad. I just felt immense shame. Like, man, 2 more months. I mean, I don't know what a high school diploma would have did for you, but 2 more months. And then when I was, I've been fighting entrepreneurship probably close to 20-something years. And after the pandemic, 2020, probably one of the worst times in our world's history. You all know where you were and how you were feeling during those times. I was trying to get back on the boat, I guess, so to speak, 2021, trying to get work. I got let go from a job because of, COVID-related cuts. Remember those cuts? It happened to a lot of people. I probably put out literally, if I can say 5,000 applications and not make it sound like it's, too big a number, I probably did that.
Yeah.
And the responses that came back were like, out of 5,000, you want to at least have a fifth of those to give yourself a fighting chance. I didn't have a fifth. I didn't have a tenth of them come back. I might have had 5 to 10 that came back out of 5,000 applications. Shame hit me like a sledgehammer. I knew it was shame. I'm like, my wife is like, these bills ain't going nowhere. I'm like, you're right. I ain't trying to go out here and rob nobody, but I mean, I don't want to go work at the supermarket and bag groceries either. I mean, because I want to make some money. I want to really help. Having 5 jobs is not going to help because I'm going to break down. It's not really going to help. That was shame. Those 2 situations were shame, but like Brent was saying, the subtle stuff, it'll get past you, man. You don't even realize that it's shame and it sticks. It don't come and just keep on going. It hangs around. And I think it morphs into other stuff. But keep going, guys. I know somebody had a comment they want to share real quick. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I cut somebody off, so I heard somebody talking, so I know I cut somebody off. No? Oh my goodness. So when we talk about who you are when you're not performing, when you're not achieving specific things or fixing something, which we love to do, have you guys kind of figured out, got a good sense of who you are outside of those narratives, if you will? Can you put a descriptor on who you found out that you are outside of those narratives?
This is something I talk about on my show a lot when we talk about personal development. I talk about raising your floor, not raising your ceiling, right? I'm not interested in guys reaching further and further and further. I'm interested in guys bringing up their baseline so that who they are on their worst days are the people they want to be, right? Because you'll always fall back to your, you hear it with the military all the time, right? You always fall back to your, lowest level of training. That's where you go back to when everything goes sideways, and trying to keep the language down for you. When everything goes south on you, you fall back to the level of your training, right? You fall back to that baseline level of your training. And so when we talk about personal development on my show all the time, that's one of the places we're coming at it from, is raising that baseline so that on your worst day, you're the man you want to be, not on your best day. On the best day, you're like, yeah, I'm walking on cloud 9. My wife adores me. My boss loves me. My kids think I'm amazing. And I even like myself today, right? Yay. No,
It's a good day.
who you are,
Good day.
right? I want who you are on your worst day to be that guy, to
Yeah.
be that husband,
Yeah.
that father you're trying to be. And so for me, that is what I try and aim for when I'm not providing, right now during this transition period for us. I'm trying to make sure that I'm attentive. And my wife works part-time. She homeschools our kids. My schedule with my new business is is crazy. I'm all over. It starts at 3:45 in the morning and sometimes doesn't until 10 o'clock at night. And I'm in and out, appointments, meetings, all kinds of stuff all day. It's kind of unpredictable sometimes. And so my wife and I have this whole passing like ships of the night frequently thing. We barely ever get to go to bed at the same time. We certainly never get out of bed at the same time. But I've set aside like Saturday mornings to be intentional about, okay, I have one morning where we wake up together. The whole rest of the week, we don't, but we have one morning where we're waking up together, one morning without those alarms, where when she wakes up, I'm still there with her, right? I finish and produce my first show and get out and promoted by 5:40 in the morning, Monday through Friday. And then I got about 20 minutes before my wife's got to leave for work. So I got out of my studio and I help her get ready for work, which is I'm distracting and I talk to her but I actually connect with her. What's going on today, baby? What's happening? How you feeling? Did you sleep well last night? We have 15 minutes. Let's talk. Let's connect, right? I'm waking my kids up and helping them get started in the mornings before I get back into the studio. I'm still struggling, like I said, in real time with feeling like I'm not providing because I haven't closed those deals or whatever. But on those bad days, I'm asking myself every morning, number one priority is, okay, am I showing up as the husband? Am I showing up as a father that I'm supposed to be? Am I still being a friend? Like my buddy who's going through some rough times, lost his job after 20 years. When he calls me, do I pause still? Even though I really can't afford to, am I still pausing and being that friend that I need to be? Right. Those are, and then it's like, then we're working on money making things. Right. But I'm still prioritizing, am I showing up? The one place I'm really dropping the ball on that is just my own physical health. But other than that, like I'm still showing up in all these other places because I've just set my baseline to the rest of the world can burn as long as I'm doing these things. Because this is how did Rory phrase it? The first 50 hours isn't optional, right? So I got that wrong. Sorry, Rory, if you see this, I got that wrong. The concept stuck, brother. The concept.
Check out this comment from the Valiant Forge. Said I deal with imposter syndrome as well. What I try to do is remember some scripture that affirms who I am in God, such as Ephesians 2:10. He also adds, we don't rise to the level of our expectations, we fall to the level of our training.
That's it.
That's good stuff, Mark. I
Yeah.
love that, man. That's good stuff, man. Thank you, brother. It's really good. All right, who's next? Go ahead.
When I'm not performing, achieving, or fixing something, I'm the same person, man. I find myself in this place now where I know who I am in Him, right? In Christ. And as long as I'm walking in alignment to His will, how can I say this? I do care about results, right? But I don't care like at the same time, like if there's nothing to be achieved in that, right? Everything that I get, this life that I've gotten from Him, it's all by grace, right? I am a sinner saved by grace. So everything is a win for me at this point in life. Do I want to achieve and exceed and succeed and all of those things? Absolutely, in the natural, right? But when I find myself feeling like that, I constantly remember, like, I am just a sinner saved by grace, right? I am just that. Like, if these things don't pop for me, I'm not going to bury my head in shame. I can't, right? Because take heart in this, right? In this world, we'll have many troubles, but He's overcome the world, right? And that's the God that I serve. And so, I'm in this I'm in this really cool place where, scripture tells me that his yoke is easy and his burden is light. And I get to walk in that right now. So who am I when all the world goes away? The same person I am when I'm walking in it, thanks to him. Prior to this, oh, bro, when I'm not performing, achieving, or fixing something, I'm trying to figure out what the next thing is to perform or to achieve or to fix. But thankfully I'm out of that place in this particular moment, but full transparency.
Yeah. Absolutely, man.
Yeah. I have to agree wholeheartedly with DL. He actually was saying a lot of things I was going to say. I guess it's that RL-DL connection.
I like
to add to that, at a core, when you strip away all of the titles, you strip away all of the role. Who am I? I am man. I am God's expressed idea that he saw fit to make us in his image by his hands and breathe his breath in us, giving us the ability to create. And with that, I look at, I have the ability to create whatever reality that I see fit. As long as I am in his will and I follow his plan, I can create whatever reality I desire. So if I want to be a good husband, I can create that. If I want to be a good father, I can create that. If I want to be the good businessman, I have the ability to create that. So in the words of Nelson Mandela, the paraphrase Nelson Mandela, I don't lose. I either win or I learn. So losing for me is not an option. Anything that someone sees as a loss, I see it as an opportunity to learn and to build. Mm-hmm. So in the end, I'm always winning. All I do is win, because any setback is just a stepping stone for me to go forward. So
that sounds like it could be a song or something. All I do is win, 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 no matter what.
Oh, thank you, brother. I'm not the only one that just like blew that up in my head, right? I just hold the whole thing start rolling hard. It's my jam, dude.
And they stay there.
And this goes up.
Oh my God. What else are we thinking? Matter of fact, before I forget about it, because the show's gonna be over. So hold that thought you got right there. And put some numbers on the screen. Have some of you guys help me read some of this stuff out. All right, so we got the veterans crisis line on the screen for you guys that are watching, that are veterans, and perhaps you're having some challenges in some of these areas, and you may be feeling alone about it. I don't know all that they do, but this is an opportunity here. Definitely want you to take that. So the veterans crisis line is 1-800-273-8255, or you can call the number and press 1, or you can text to 838-255. So it's 1-800-273-8255 and press 1, or you can text 838-255. Somebody else got me on this one?
I got you. 988 is the nationwide emergency mental health hotline number in the United States. You can call, text, or chat online at 988lifeline.org. That's 988lifeline.org for 24/7 support from trained crisis counselors. For those who prefer text-based communications, the crisis text line is available by texting HOME to 741-741.
Thank you, brother. It sounds like a true mayor right there. I like that. I like how you said that.
The mayor.
That's the mayor. That's the mayor of Tennessee, Washington. He didn't get the job yet, but it's really his. He just didn't get the job yet, but it's kind of his already. So it's not really. It's just a matter of time. But what are you guys thinking here?
Man, I think there's a lot of places. I literally just had this conversation. I'm talking to one of our veterans groups. We have an amazing nonprofit here called Veterans Operation Creation. And I was just interviewing the founder of it like last night. And this was such a major conversation around the fact that there are so many veterans that feel like this all the time. And that extends to men as well. But there are so many people, men, veterans, women too. I'm not saying women can't feel that way. That, I mean, you can be in the middle of the church. I go to a church where I've been going to that church for, I don't know, my daughter's 14 now. So we've been going there at least 13 and a half years. And I mean, there are times that I struggle with feeling alone, even at this congregation that I've been a part of and active in for 13 plus years. And that's on me. Like, there are a lot of amazing people there, but I am slow to connect and reach out. I had a peer group I was doing some stuff with there, and I was getting better about it. And then with the setbacks in business and everything else, I kind of lost connection with that group. And there are times like I feel like on Sunday mornings, like all these people here, ain't nobody sees me. And so I think you can go through phases of this, right? Like I said, I lost connection with that group. We hit the rough times, we hit the big switches, and I lost that connection. I stopped hanging out with those guys because I got so busy trying to, solve the financial issues.
Yeah.
And it's so easy to fade back into that, just feeling unseen. And that's what everybody really wants us to feel seen.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. I'm gonna drop George's comment and I put the question back up. The question was that we had for the community was, where are you surrounded by people but still emotionally alone? And here's George's response to that question. In my working probation. And I heard a story, so you got to hear this story. Not many see the potential in the guys we work with. I feel frustration on a regular basis, but then I am reminded that God sees and I try to collaborate with him.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
I want to kind of piggyback off of what Brent was saying. Like, I resonate with that a lot. And I'd say it just depends on where I'm at internally, right? If I'm at a place internally where I don't know that there's anyone around who can relate or could be trusted with what I'm feeling or things like that, right? Then it doesn't matter where I'm at. I could literally, like you said, I could be in church, sitting in the front row, hands up in worship. I'm good with God, but with everybody else, I'm like, if they knew what I'm thinking or what I'm feeling or what I'm going through, they would judge me. Or if they knew, like I would become somebody talked about or whatever it is, right? Thankfully, that's not the case right now, but I have had moments where, I'm freshly out of prison, right? Never really served God or never really walked into with a church community like that. And then all of a sudden I have all of these people rallying around me like they love me and they want to grow with me and see me thrive. And I'm like, wait, you guys don't know what I did when I was there. You guys don't know what I did. You know what I mean? Like, do you really know who you're supporting right now? And so I would probably for the first year, man, going to this church, and mind you, my brother's the pastor, right? And I felt so alone in that. And these people wanted to be there for me. I just kind of like Brent, right? Like I was very resistant to connecting in that way. Trust was a very, very rough place for me because, here I was a person who, by all intents and purposes, was betrayed by the system, like, so if a broken system breaks people like that, right? Like, I've dealt with the grand scale of it. What's another person going to do? If the system couldn't help me, but it hurt me. And so I would feel there were many days where I felt like I was alone, and we'd have a full sanctuary during the worship service. And sometimes I would just look around like, wow, and none of these guys can understand me. Now that I've let the wall down, I got some solid brothers, man. Some solid brothers and sisters that, like, we don't just walk together. We are running this race together, man. And it's great. But yeah, prior to that, when I'm in a place where I don't know if I can trust. Oh, it doesn't matter. You put me in any room. You put me in any room, fill that room up, and I'm still going to be alone.
I agree. Again, it's all about letting that wall down. That's the key. And I very quickly, we don't have much time. I tell you my story. In this specific area here, it was I felt surrounded by people, but felt alone when it came to the area of being a husband and being a father. Felt like I was flying by the seat of my pants, had no idea what I was doing, and I had no one to turn to. Reason being, my father was estranged. So him and I didn't really start talking again until I was 30 years old. So he can't tell me how to be a husband. He can't tell me how to be a father because he was never one. No shade because we have a relationship now, but that's just the reality of it. I had my grandfathers, but by the time I got married and had my child, they both passed away. So it's like all of my resources, all of my foundation has now been swept away. I have no one to talk to. And I had this wall up because of the issue with my father. I didn't trust. And I definitely didn't trust men, because this is the person who's supposed to take care of me, provide and protect me. If he can disappoint me and turn his back, and then I know I can't trust anybody else. That was my thinking. So then I had to turn to God, had to allow him to heal me of those hurt and heal me of those wounds. And then I had to ask to open my eyes and ears, and I asked and I prayed for divine connection. Then I had to be willing to lower the wall and then let people in. Once I started doing that, I realized that I'm surrounded by people who have similar stories. I have there's elders around me that I can get wisdom from on my job, from church, just in the community. They're there, and when you ask them the question, they're more than willing to help you. A lot of them sometimes they're waiting for somebody to ask them something because they want to share that knowledge. But when we're stuck in ourselves and we're stuck in our hurt and we have these walls up, we're blinded to the help that's around us, and we will feel alone, and we are in isolation. And it's at that point when you start to try to handle these things by yourself, that's when it starts weighing on you.
Yeah.
It starts tearing you down. And then I've also been blessed with a wonderful wife too. I can talk to her about anything. And then she's a mental health professional. So it's almost like I got an in-house psychologist. So but even in that, I have to be willing to let God to do his work on me and allow me to put shame away and express some things to her that normally as a man, you wouldn't. And back to our first conversation on this podcast, you can speak to your wife, but you do have, as a man, you do have to be mindful of how you speak to your wife, because you don't need to be breaking down with snot nose all the time. So that's not going to go well for you. But
Mess around and ugly cry in front of our wives tonight.
I mean, you're good for at least one, depending on the situation. It's situational.
One really cool thing about all that, man, is life is life, pain is pain, right?
Yeah.
We oftentimes, like how you're talking about, look at the dressing of it, right? And that's what stops us, right? My pain might be wearing a bow tie. Yours might have suspenders, but it's still pain. And when we get to that, right, then we see that we do have community that we can relate to. Too often we try to imagine a situation where relativity means identical things, but it doesn't, right? Like for things to relate, they don't have to be exactly the same. A thread of similarity is enough to bring things together and like create that community within the environment that you're in. So it's really cool though, like how you said you notice in that, right, that you got elders around, job, church, everywhere, and ultimately there's one, right? There's one that's got all of it planned for you, and we all got access to him. So it's a beautiful thing.
Right. Any other thoughts on this? This is good. I'm not rushing anybody. Just want to let everybody kind of just share all this on their heart. Anything else? We got some comments that came through. Got where I left off at. Okay. My guy, the Volume 4 podcast, said this could be a topic in itself. People in the church full of people that feel alone is a real thing these days. Yeah, it could be definitely be a topic for this show. Surprised nobody thought of it yet, but okay. George says one of the names for the devil is a divider. Isn't that something? Yeah,
Isn't that
it is
something?
something, sir. It is. Anybody else? Any final thoughts or continuing thoughts? No rush. I tell you what, since there's too long of a pause for my taste, I'll just say this right quick and then we'll go ahead and get us out of here. You know, I'm hearing everything that's being said, and you know, and I definitely feel all of it. Matter of fact, I think I put this on the screen just to keep myself honest, because it's a note that I put in here that just kind of just crystallizes for me what this is all about, what we're trying to accomplish. Many of you guys, matter of fact, you all should have gotten invites. So I know Brent, he did his interview on the interview spotlight, but you guys have all been invited to do that. It's an extension of this show where we go a little bit deeper. He did a fantastic job in his episode. Check it out when you get a chance. It's out on social media as we speak. But this, it's not a quote, I guess it's a note right here. Healing requires relational exposure, being known, not just being competent or respected. I don't know a man that doesn't want healing, but you gotta let us take that Band-Aid off or that bandage off and touch that place.
Yeah.
You gotta let, I know it's gonna hurt. It's still fresh. You're wounded. You gotta let somebody who knows what they're doing take that bandage off and look at your arm or look at your leg or wherever the wound is. And I just feel like, you know, I'm gonna say this, I don't mean to get sappy. Please forgive me. That's not my intention at all, but I'm gonna say this and get up out of the way. Unless if you got a comment, do this. If you don't do this, you're gonna hear me outro music. But I really hope and pray that we don't miss what we have right here with this. Because I'm seeing men that, you know, that they come in hot and they are rolling and they're growing, and then they get scared and they run back to the thing that wasn't helping them in the first place. They go back to the place where that made them sick in the first place, but they want to be healed. And I'm not saying this podcast is the do all or the end all or the panacea for anything. I'm just saying that this is a great opportunity. So I hope that if you're watching, listening, if you're on this panel, if you've ever been on the panel before, if you intend to be on a panel soon, don't just take it for granted that you're here. Tell somebody about this. Pull some people in with you. You got 7 days. Pull somebody in here with you, because the last thing I want to ever hear, this is a nightmare for me, is to hear somebody in your proximity, and it'd probably be even worse for you, that you could have touched. We're the one that didn't get touched, and they made a permanent decision based on a temporary situation. I don't ever want that to happen to any of us. So that's why I push this, why I end the shows like this on these somber notes, because I'm like, man, it's so easy. People take it casual. There are people who have, you know, supported us from a distance, said they loved it, whatever, and they just drift. They go back to whatever the other stuff that don't even mean anything. We talk about validation and fighting against these narratives, and they go back to the same narrative. I got to do this. It's more important. No, it's not. The world says it is, but why are you listening to them? They never had your best interest at heart. But these band of brothers, they always have. They're ready to pick up that 3 a.m. phone call or text. So all I'm saying, to keep it short and light as it can be, is don't take this for granted. You guys are incredible human beings, period, but incredible husbands. incredible fathers, incredible brothers and sons. Grab somebody. Don't let this get so casual that you just forget that you guys got power and authority and influence. Use it. However you feel like you got to do that, use it. Whatever you got to do. If your influence is at the coffee shop, use it. If it's on social media, use it. If it's in your neighborhood, use it. Do something. Because the men, it's so many men that's just like, I'm so alone. And I don't know what's happening to them or what's going to happen. But we got a chance to help them. Any closing thoughts? If not, I
I got to jump in, bro.
Okay.
Because I got to disagree with what you said. I don't think there's a lot of men who are looking to be healed. I think there are a lot of men who don't realize they need to be healed or even think about it.
Oof.
I think there are a whole lot of men out there who have accepted the misconception that their job is to serve and provide and to take care of everybody else until they drop dead. And they don't actually know that there is something more and something different and that they are more valuable. It's Optimus Prime syndrome. Optimus Prime didn't die till he couldn't serve his people anymore. He didn't have that mission. And that's the way a lot of men are living their lives. They live only to provide, to take care of, and to protect, and to carry out their mission, but see no value in themselves and no need to take care of themselves or to heal themselves because they don't know or believe that they deserve more.
Wow.
That's a show in itself.
That is, man, that's real. That's real. That hit me right here. A few people came to mind immediately, man. That's so real.
Yeah, that's
healing is
the
necessary.
horrifying thing, man. Is all of us thought of people immediately who are living their lives just like that.
Yeah.
That I think is the hardest gospel for us to share outside of, obviously sharing the gospel of Jesus Christ, is that men are valuable and they need to heal, that they are more valuable present, living in the lives of the people they love. It's not just about carrying out the mission until they drop.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, they need to hear that, man. You know what that says, right? That says that men's love language is words of affirmation. Sorry, you. I just had to go there real quick.
And on that note, it's okay.
That is a wrap.
Oh my goodness. It most certainly is.